Welcome to Virtual Antics, your go-to podcast for digital entrepreneurs, powered by Nandora.org and NG Virtual Assistant. We're here to guide you through every aspect of business, from networking to lead generation and so much more. Get ready to thrive in the virtual world with expert insights and our all-in-one solution, Nandora, where creating a digital business becomes a breeze. Let's dive in and revolutionize your business journey together. Welcome back to the Virtual Antics podcast. I'm your host, Natalie Guzman, and today I have Chris Miles with me, who is the cash flow expert and anti-financial advisor. Welcome, Chris. How you doing?
Man, I'm fantastic. So good to be here, Natalie.
Oh, I'm so happy to have you. So can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do? I always love to talk about money and cash flow, some of my favorite topics.
Mine too. In fact, my shirt even says it. It says,
Oh,
I love,
it says, I love
passive income, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. Because who doesn't? Well, I tell you who doesn't. Financial advisors. They don't like passive income. They just like you to save up and squirrel it away forever, right? And I know that because I used to be one. So give you a little bit of my background. I actually started out, I wasn't like a financial genius growing up. In fact, even going to college, I was a sociology major with a triple minor in psychology, Japanese, and ballroom dancing. So that
What
tells
a
you anything.
combination. Wow.
I know it's just, I'm kind of a Renaissance man of sorts, right? But I wanted my intention with that was actually to become a business consultant. But if I was going to do that, I figured I should have real life business experience. So I was looking around trying to figure out what to do with my life, and what kind of business could I start? And then I'll just go back to finish up my MBA. Well, as I did that, of course, the first thing that came up was being a financial advisor. That seemed kind of interesting. I thought, well, that's cool. I don't know a lot about money, but if I can learn more, that'd be great. Because growing up, my parents, they were good people, taught me good values, but they didn't know about money. They were all about scarcity and saving it. My dad was always like, save everything, spend nothing, be cheap like I am, that kind of stuff. And even you hear things growing up like, well, we can't afford this. What do you think I am? Made of money? Money doesn't grow on trees, all those kind of phrases you hear from pretty much when you're broke. So that's what I was raised on. And I wanted a different life. So I became a financial advisor. I actually liked being a business owner that way. And so I stayed dropped out of college. I never finished my MBA. So I'm a college dropout. And then several years in, my dad said, well, Chris, when are you going to financially advise me? And so I sat down with him. He says, Chris, I'm 61 years old. I want to retire soon. Y2K was not fun. It hurt my retirement account. It's coming back, but I want out of my job. It's killing me. Literally, it was actually killing him because he had multiple strokes and heart attacks by the time he was 61. So I'm looking at his money. I said, Dad, here's the thing. Even though you've paid off all your debt, including your house, you've been stuffing your 401k for years, you better hope you die in 5 years, because that's how long it'll be before you run out of money. Okay, Chris, well, what do I do then? I was like, I don't know. You did everything right. Everything that we teach as financial advisors, you did it. It's just not enough. And that disturbed me. It really disturbed me, because he was part of the motivation for me to want to learn about money, because I knew that he just felt like he was trapped because he didn't have enough of it. Well, even though he had been saving a lot and he had been paid off all of his debt, he was the Dave Ramsey poster child, right? Despite all that, he was still broke. And I found out that when I started talking to a friend of mine who had trained to be a financial advisor, but then left to go do real estate investing, he's saying, well, Chris, how many of your clients are actually financially free, where they don't worry about money? So I thought about even the ones that were retired, they still worried about running out of money before they died. And I said, well, none. I said, well, good job, Chris. Well, how about this? How many of you guys as financial advisors are financially free, not off the commissions you're earning, but actually doing these mutual fund investments? And as I thought about it, I realized none. Even the guys who've been working there since the late 1970s still couldn't retire because they didn't have enough. It just wasn't enough. The system's broken. It's been proven not to work. And so I had a dilemma. Either I stay in the profession and I keep doing it because I was making money, or I quit and I keep my integrity intact. And so I chose the latter. So I quit, ended up going more the passive income route, doing real estate investing, basically doing the opposite of what I taught as a financial advisor. Instead of putting it away for someday, set it and forget it, I was investing for passive income now. And the next thing I know, later that year, when I was 28, almost 29 years old, I myself was able to quit. I was able to retire, and never thought that was possible at that young of an age, even based on that financial advisor mindset. I had to switch it, almost do the opposite. And because of that, naturally, even though I could have been quiet and happy with my life, whenever you do something amazing, people want to know how you did it, right? And so that kind of pulled me back out. And that's kind of where I became the anti-financial advisor.
That is awesome. It's so crazy to think about, right? Because my husband has like a pension plan and all that stuff. You know, his job, he gets to retire after like 25 years of being in the business, law
Mhm.
enforcement. And so but it's interesting to think about because that money can only take you so far and it really doesn't build you up for success, like you said. And even in my business, you know, we deal with like retainers. We have your one-time projects, you have and then we have passive income and monthly recurring passive income, which to me is like the cash king of everything. Passive income that
Mhm.
recurs every single month. So you only have to sign up one person and it keeps coming in. That's like
Right.
that is my dream. My second business, that's basically the model it's surrounded by. And so it's so funny to think about all these different types of ways to get paid and then all the different ways to invest your money. So what do you think has been like the biggest game changer for businesses to create financial freedom?
Yeah. It's doing the opposite of what every business coach tells you to do, pretty much. I actually just posted about this on social media today. You get a lot of business coaches out there saying, you know what, like, don't give them the how to, just give them the what and the why, right?
Yeah.
And they'll even say things like, reinvest all your money back in your business. And in fact, I was just on an interview where the guy said, well, Mr. Beast says invest everything back in your business. I said, well, Mr. Beast has got a residual income model that helps. So what you just described, I call that residual income if it comes from
Mhm.
business, which is
Yeah.
more passive there. And passive income is more from investment income, right? And so he's like, yeah, he's got the residual income model, but he's also not very old. He hasn't been beaten up by markets before like I have, right?
Mhm.
And you start to learn pretty quickly that you want to diversify your income streams.
Yeah.
And so that's the big problem that's out there today. So business owners, what you need to do to at first, I mean, you're just launching a new business, you're probably going to reinvest most, if not almost all your money back in your business. And that's totally normal. Once you're like, I would imagine a lot of you are in your six figures already working to get seven figures. When you're getting your six figures now, don't stay in that same habit. As you start to stabilize and mature as a business, start taking profit. There's a great book out there called Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. I remember I was listening to him, in person one time, and he was talking about, he's like, hey guys, like if you're reinvesting 100% of your money in your business, you're not profitable. You're just spending money. He's like, now, of course, it might drive up more revenue, but here's the entrepreneur trap that everybody gets caught into, right? Is that you start to drive up revenue because you're reinvesting all this money in your business. You're growing the business. But you found out after years of doing this and quote unquote hustling, which I hate that word, by the way. When you start doing that all the time, the next thing you know, what happens is that you're still hustling decades later because you never get out of that habit. The key is start to take some of those profits home. Bring some of that money home. By the way, your spouse will love you for it if you do that. But bring that money home with you. Don't just reinvest everything 100% in your business, because I've seen so many guys, even in the real estate space, guys that will do wholesaling or flipping of properties, make millions, sometimes tens of millions of dollars. But if you strip that business away, they're just as broke as the next person.
Yeah.
Now they might have a great lifestyle. They might be able to post on social media their hot Lamborghini and their trips and their this and this. It doesn't matter if you don't have multiple streams of income. So take some of those profits and then use that to create investment streams of income that are coming in. So you now work because you want to, not because you have to. And I'll tell you a business secret here. This is like the number one secret ever, is that if you want to have more people do business with you and you want to do less work doing it, just get financially free without the business.
Mhm.
Because when you get to a point where you don't need that one customer, that one client, that's when everybody wants to say yes. The time in business when everybody wants to say no is when you're desperate for business. When you need that business, that's when you work 5, 10 times harder for getting that one deal, versus if you actually just got free and said, listen, I don't need you, right? But I know I can help you. I know I can serve you and make your life better. When you come from that place of confidence and relaxation and peace, man, people do not want to say no to you. They just feel like, hey, this person, they're trying to help me. It's legit. There's no ulterior motive. It's real. That's a key secret of success that I never expected in my own life until I got there. In fact, I had to do it again in 2016 because the recession kicked my butt. So I had to come back out of debt and do it again.
Mhm.
And I'll tell you, man, like more people say yes, and they say yes more easily because I just don't need the money. And that's where you're in a place of power.
Yeah, and it's a crazy transition. Me and my team have been talking about this a lot lately because that's also when you let go of your energy vampire clients, as I
Mm-hmm.
like to call them, the ones that suck all your energy out. It's okay to say no to them if you know that
Yeah.
the energy is going to bring your team down. It actually has cost my team money before because we were at that point, like you said, where we were desperate for money and we were just trying to take any client that came our way, ended up costing us more money. So
It
which is
does.
insane. And it costs us, our team's mental health. And that's, as an owner, that's my job, is to protect my team. So we have to make sure
Yeah.
that we're saying no to those energy vampire clients. And how good does it feel when you say no to them?
Yeah. You can confidently say, you know what? I don't need you and I don't even want you. Go
Yeah.
talk to my competitor. They'll love you, right? That's all I say. If I don't want to work, somebody's like, here, I have a competitor you should talk to. And they'll go work with them, please. Because you don't want to deal with that energy leak. So you lose happiness, but then you also don't reek of business breath because you're desperate for business either, right? It's like those people you go to networking events and they're throwing out their business cards at everybody left and right saying, call me, call me, call me, right? You don't want that kind of energy. You want to be able to come from a place where you're relaxed, you're confident, and you know that you're only bringing on business because you know you can deliver great value and improve their lives because you're in it. That is what you should be. That's what every business owner should be doing right now, is not come from a place of scarcity, but a place of abundance.
Yeah, and when you're in that place of abundance, it's also you actually provide more quality work and products.
You
So
sure
that's
do.
another thing. Like I love when I had an energy vampire client recently say to me, "Well, I get a better price somewhere else." I'm like, "Okay, great. Go to them. You can go to
Bye.
the better price, but you're not going to get better quality and as a thoroughness that my team provides." That's just like bottom line, I think I really do like the term you get what you pay for. And I think as business owners, though, we undercharge a lot, especially if you're just starting out. And it kind of contradicts that phrase. And I really do like the whole you get what you pay for because it reminds me to put value into my business and to, remember that I'm providing more than just a service. I'm providing an experience as well. And that is worth something. And so,
Yep.
and when we're undercharging, we're actually, it actually is worse off because one, our mental stress, and then two is our team's mental stress because we're probably trying to rush them to do a project so it costs us less and it turns into a huge mess. So I think charging, you know, what you're worth is extremely important as well.
Absolutely. I mean, they've even done psychological studies that if you try to be the lowest price person, people will automatically say no,
Wow.
because we see it all the time. We go to the grocery store, even if you go to, not even the grocery store, any store, even Walmart, right? The place that's supposed to be cheap. You go to Walmart and you start looking at the blender aisle, and you see all the different blenders from like the Oster blender all the way up to like, well, they may not have Blendtec, they'll have Ninja or something like that, right? So you're looking at all these blenders, you automatically don't even want to look at the Oster blenders for $20 because you just know, like, I'm probably going to buy a piece of crap. You're going to go at least to the mid range or the high range. Even if money's kind of tight, you will still want to avoid those lower price things. Don't become the lower price business or commodity either. You don't want to be there where people will just assume you suck.
Yeah, 100%. And you see it time and time again. One of my favorite money theories is actually by another guest that was recently on a show called Lisa. Her name's Lisa Drennan from the I Date Money podcast. And
Mm,
I love it because she literally treats it like a relationship, money in a relationship. She gives
yep.
and then money gives back, she'll take, and she treats it like a true relationship. And I absolutely love that because one, it installs healthy boundaries with money, but also shows you that money, I think there's a lot of like, we have these thoughts about money that stem maybe from our childhood. Like you said, your dad saying money doesn't grow on trees, or, we can't
Mm-hmm.
afford that right now. And I've actually just started, me and my husband started a new routine with our children, and it's instead of saying we can't afford that in the store, you can't have that, we say you didn't earn that. And
Yeah.
what a difference it's made in our children and their thoughts with money. So now they're like, well, how can we earn it? And we download this really cool like app called Go Henry. And so now, like when they do chores, they get a little debit card and they have to balance their book and they have to take like money lessons on this app. And it's so cool. But now my kids are not asking me in the store, can I have that? They're like, how much
Mm-hmm.
money do I have? And is it worth it? So like my son had $3 and he was holding up a pack of Oreos, which was like $3. And he's like, is it worth it though for me to spend that money? And he's like, nope. So he put it back. It was like the coolest thing in the world.
No, it's awesome when you get, especially when you get them to focus on value, not price, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I know of my kids, I remember years ago, my oldest is now 19. I have 6 teenagers right now, and
Oh, wow. Good
two
luck
two
with
a little bit
that.
younger. Yeah, we have a family of 8, blended family, and I remember my oldest, he was asking for something, and I was like, no, we're not going to buy that. He's like, we can't afford it, and he might as well said the F word to me, because I'm like, whoa, hold on, we can afford anything that we want. Heck, drug addicts can afford anything that they want, right? They will find a way to get the drugs one way or the other. It's true with us too. And so I told him, like, no, it's just not valuable to us. And the problem is, in scarcity, everybody's teaching you to focus on the price, right? But the truth is that we really want value. Just like I mentioned with the blender example, we want value. If you focus on there and you focus on your own value and what you offer, it's so much easier to find the right clients or customers, to find the right people to work with you. It's always, it comes back to value. Nobody will exchange money unless they think it's worth more than whatever that money is. But vice versa, remember this too. The only reason you accept the money is because you think your services are worth less than what you're offering. Therefore, the one thing that your services aren't worth is whatever you agreed on as that price.
Yeah.
That's the one thing at it. That's why I tell people, even with a house appraisal, it's like, if the buyer wants to buy it because he thinks it's worth more than the price, the seller is willing to sell it because he thinks it's worth a little bit less. The one thing that a house is not worth is the appraised value. It's always about trying to figure out how we get the win-win, not about how you screw somebody over. It's not a zero-sum game and trying to, do something where somebody loses for you to win, right? It's never a win-lose. It's always about how to create the win-win for people. If you come from that attitude, money is easier even at the store for yourself as a consumer, but it's also easier for you as a business owner when you're trying to offer your value and your services.
Mom, that's amazing. And it's really interesting to think about, I think there's so much synergy between value and money, and like also we always hear time and money, and lately I've been hearing a lot, especially I think after the pandemic, because everyone was coming up with new ways to make money, right? Especially online, we hear about the multiple streams of income. So do you recommend a certain amount of multiple streams of income, or what do you usually try to, or do you even recommend it?
Yeah, well, yes and no. Within a certain parameters and boundaries, right? I'll tell you a story. Like I mentioned, I went broke during the last recession. Didn't go bankrupt, but it would have been easier if I did, because I went over $1 million in debt, and mainly because real estate was tanking. I was gambling more with real estate versus the thing that got me to be retired in the first place. And then I also started a brand new business, which is focused only on the small market of in real estate flippers, right? So our business was tanking, my personal finance was tanking, everything's going crazy. So I was looking for ways to create multiple streams of income. So I decided to start these small businesses. I started a dinner and dance business, like a catered dinner and then teach ballroom dancing business, right? I did that. I had a network marketing company I joined, and I also did, an insurance part of my business, and I had a consulting part of my business, and I can't remember the 5th one because it's been so long. But either way, I had 5 businesses I was running all at once, all providing income streams. The crazy thing is, I was making less income with those 5 income streams than I was previous when I had less. When I cut off 3 of those and just focused on 2, amazingly, my income overall went up. So yes, I'm all about multiple streams of income, but if you're trying to do it in a business way, get one stream of income done at a time. Get that one going, get it to the point of sustainability and maintenance, really, where you're not having to hustle and grind in it. Once it's there, then if you have the right systems and the people in place, then move to the next one and do the same thing. Once that's in the place, then you can move and do the same thing. I personally, like, I have multiple streams of income from my business, but I have a lot of streams of income coming in from my investments too. Like I have about 16 different streams of income. Again, not done overnight, right? That was done over time, but I love it because that just makes me safer. I mean, you remember 2020 when everybody was non-essential? You remember
Yeah.
that? and everybody had to shut down. I'll tell you, like the business owners that got through that were the ones that said, I don't need that one stream of income. I've got others coming in. I even had a client, he worked for Hollywood. He was a set designer, right? And 2019, he hired us, and he was just like, I want to get passive income. He's like, I got a few $100,000. What can I do with it? And so he started doing some real estate investing and things like that. Well, then 2020 happened. The industry that got hit the hardest out of almost everybody was Hollywood, right? They shut down everything. Remember, that's when we're all begging for Netflix, and then we're like, oh, there's nothing good on right now, except for, somebody that likes to, have tigers and stuff. So anyways, so we of course, like he was just out of work for months, but because he had about 75, 80% of his income or his expenses covered by his passive income, he was able to wait it out. He had enough emergency reserves and he had income coming in. He's able to wait for the right project, because most of his friends and colleagues they took whatever project they gave him. They took even the ones that they hated just because they needed the money. He didn't. He came from a place of power. He's able to start choosing and picking and choosing. And of course, now you got the writer's strike going on. So once again, he's relying on that income again. Like if as a business owner, that is the kind of safety and security you want. Because I know from personal experience, when you go into scarcity, when you start going broke or things go crazy in your business, you don't make good decisions. You make decisions out of desperation. You never make a decision out of a low, especially a big one. Well, if you can keep yourself from having those big lows, you can make much better decisions and be able to come out stronger on the other end.
So true. It gives us a lot to think about, and also in how to build our businesses. And I know one way, so my first business, I pretty much turned it into a passive income stream by creating automations and then training the right staff and having them take it over. So that business, I only spend maybe 2 hours a weekend if I need to, which I really don't, but I just do it just to check on the business and see how it's doing. And then I went on to the next business, and that one is actually a whole passive income model. So I absolutely love passive income. Also an Etsy shop with digital files, make it once, sell it a million times. That's ebooks. There's so many different passive income streams that you can easily, like, even use a virtual assistant, set it up for you.
Subscriptions.
Oh my gosh, so much. I absolutely love it. And I actually just checked I have a Amazon journal account, right? Where I just made cute little journals in Canva because I was bored one day, and that thing's still making money and I don't do anything with it. So I absolutely love it. It's so much fun. And I've even had like VAs, make the journal covers or the insides for me, and then I just upload it and it's all done, and it just continuously makes money. So there's definitely a lot of ways out there, especially like you said, with investments to multiply your income. That's awesome. Well, where can we find you and learn more about you and what you do, Chris?
Yeah. I mean, you can just Google me and be a stalker.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you might find the rapper Chris Miles. It's like a kid rapper. So I wouldn't recommend looking him up. So best way to do that is just go to moneyripples.com, or you can even look up like Money Ripples podcast or the Money Ripples channel on YouTube or wherever you consume podcasts.
Awesome. I'll make sure to put that in the show notes as well. Thank you so much for coming on, Chris. I had a blast.
Same here. Thanks so much, Natalie.
All right. We'll talk to you guys next time. Have a good day.